Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 100k Club podcast, your go-to place for equipping yourself with the tools and strategies that you need so that you can reach the next level in your personal income. Whether that be the 100k Club is your goal, getting to the 100k a year income bracket, or perhaps it's just to increase by 5%, 10%. So look, if we can get you to 100k, then we can do the 10% quite easy, can't we? So I hope this podcast can give you some tools. And that's what we're talking about today, is another tool or another way of thinking that may help you get to that next level. And that's thinking about what sort of zone do you need to be in? What sort of frame, what sort of state of mind do you need to be in more often? Because if we think about it and break it down, it's really the moments that we're living in life is just moment to moment to moment. And in those moments, we can feel pretty shit in the moment, or we can feel really strong in the moment. Okay. Now, I know that sort of the emotions and chemicals in our body can really change the way that we feel. So what we need to do is have that ideal of what we need to be like more often. Yeah. Okay. You've been out on a Saturday night, you're waking up on a Sunday morning. The last thing that you want to be doing is going out there and creating another income or working on your personal development to increase your income, okay? So you see how this is important, right? We're not the same person all the time. Real key. Managing state. And that's what we're talking about today. Managing state. And what I like to call getting in that 1% zone. What is the 1% zone? Well, think about all the earners in the world, everybody who has an income in the world, the people who earn the most in the world, the 1%, getting that 1%. We can study those people. We can see how they communicate. We can see the things that they learn. We can see how they talk to their staff or talk to their colleagues or talk to their friends, and we can see their habits. So it's really studying that 1% and then thinking, how can I get in that 1% zone more often, 100% of the time? Okay, that's impossible, isn't it? Yeah, you wake up in the mornings, you go to bed in the evenings. You're not always the same person, and that's okay. That's what we need to remember. That is okay to be that. We're not machines. We're human beings, okay? And if we recognize that in ourselves, we can recognize it in others. Emotional intelligence. That's another episode. So today, ladies and gents, I'm going to give you 5 things that can start to get us in that 1% zone. Is that okay with you? Okay, well, let's get stuck in. Okay, so number 1, what is going to get us in that 1% zone? Getting clear on what your environment needs to be. Okay, think about your character. The character that is earning 100k a year versus the character that you are today. Okay, and you may be already earning 100k. I don't know, right? But just play with me. Let's say that you're at 30k at the moment, 30k per year, right? And you want to triple your income. The results you're getting today are because of the things that you are doing or the way that you are thinking. Well, not or, and the way that you are thinking. So what we need to do is really, really think, not about what we're doing right now, but are we doing the right stuff? Because we can be working and working away and hustling. Yeah, the word hustle. And I don't really agree with it when you see all the social media influencers talking hustle, hustle, hustle. Yeah, we need to think about working smarter, not just harder. So, if you're going to hustle, great, but just make sure your ladder is up the right wall, because the last thing you want to do is hustle all your life, and then when you get to your later years, you realize that you're on the top of that fucking ladder, and it was never the right ladder. That's the last thing that we want. So here's the thing. Be clear on where you're going. We call this direction of travel. Okay? Direction of travel. What way are we traveling towards? So every time that we go out there and we do hustle, we make sure it's towards the right direction. And direction of travel makes decisions for us. Bang, bang, that's the direction. That's the right decision. That's the right decision. That's the right decision. Yeah, moment to moment to moment. That's what life's about. Moment to moment. So in all those moments, if we're hustling away and making the right decisions based on where we're ending up, okay, then we know that we're going to get there eventually. because I know that if you're listening to the 100k Club, you're already resilient, yeah? You're already part of the resilient 100k Club team, okay? So environment, what does that mean? Well, the environment, think about the things in the environment. Look around the room right now. Is your room that you're sitting in, or the vehicle that you're in right now, you may be driving to work or you're driving around with a family, is the vehicle you're in, or the room you're in, the space that you're in, the environment you're in, the right environment to influence your mindset and your actions to get you to where you want to get to? Okay? So in 5 years' time, if you want to be in the 100k Club, just think about it right now. Are you acting like a 100k earner? Are the things around you going to get you there? Are the things around you making it feel like your head is all cluttered, full of junk, right? If you're sitting in a room full of junk and piles of stuff everywhere, then what's going on in your mind? Yeah, because you're operating in this space. And is that operation the thing of what's going to get you? Is that a habit? Is that a behaviour of a 100k earner? This is just an example, right? There could be many things. What about if you're in an environment where there's a lot of noise or a lot of social activity, but really that your vehicle for getting you to 100k is all about focus? Yeah, is that environment right for you? What about an environment where there's a lot of negativity? Okay, what about if you're having to drive down a busy motorway each day or freeway if you're in a different country, and there's a lot of road rage? Yeah, and you get to your place of work and then you're feeling angry. Yeah, this is all the environment, isn't it? So that state that we just mentioned, your state is going to be what after you just had a lot of road rage? Of course, anger. Yeah, you're going to spend your day talking about shit that's happened before you even started your day. Is that the right environment for you to be in? Is that the right state? Is that the right environment for your brain to be in your body? How about that one? That's a bit more depth. Yeah. What I mean by that is, are you looking after your body well enough so it can make you feel energized? Yeah. If you're in a place where there's a lot of bad food around, for example, and the closest store is not giving you the right nutrition, yeah, you're in an environment there where it's not good for your body that feeds your brain. Just all these things. I know we're going to a bit of depth here, but environment can make a big impact on who you're going to become. Now, number 2, what gets you in the 1% zone? Let's think about this. Inputs. So we spoke about the environment. The environment is something that you can change. Yeah, paint the walls. Put some music on in the background that makes you feel relaxed more or gets you in the flow. Yeah, ever heard of flow? We can do an episode on that as well. Getting into flow, right? So you can start to do things to change your environment, but what's going to happen is that if you think about it, as a human being, what inputs have you got into your brain? Yeah, we've got visual inputs, we've got auditory inputs, we've got taste, smell, kinesthetic inputs, touch. Yeah, all these things can make a difference on how we feel, our character, the character that we need to be, but we're struggling to fight against that environment of where we currently are. Yeah. So think about the inputs. What could you do to change the inputs? So what about different inputs around you when you're not in the workplace? Okay. What about when you get home? What sort of inputs are you plugging into one of these 5 modalities that then go into your brain? Yeah. What about like Netflix? What about when we get back and we start to intoxicate ourselves and have a beer here and there more often, so it affects our state? Yes, we're not always thinking about it, and then we know that it may not feel the best the next day. Okay, these are all inputs. Yeah. What about inputs around you? What about the music you listen to? Yeah, is it making you feel good? Is it making you feel like you want to go out and party more? Or does it make you feel like you want to concentrate more? Or does it inspire you about a bigger picture? I know if we think about inputs as well, are you a more visual person or are you a more auditory person? Yeah. Do you fit well with bright colours around you, and it's something where you can look out of a window more to have more light into your world? Or do you need to, quite the opposite, just close it down and listen to a lot of heavy rock music? It's your call, but be careful of the inputs that are entering into your body. Yeah, be careful of the inputs that surround you that may cause negativity in your life. Yeah, so always stand guard to the gateway of your mind. Number 3, getting in the 1% zone. How to get in the 1% zone. Learning is number 3, right? So we just spoke about inputs, and that was a little bit more depth on the first one, which was environment. And the third one now is learning, okay? What are you learning on purposeful learning? So there's purposeful learning and unpurposeful learning, isn't there? Yeah, subconscious learning. So being around an environment for the first time, you're going to start to learn some new stuff to fit into that environment. Yeah. So, for example, if I was to go and do an activity which was to climb a mountain in Norway, it's got to be pretty cold there. But eventually I'll adapt to climbing mountains in Norway. Now, if I was going to go and learn how to surf in Australia, on the beaches in Australia, then I'll soon adapt differently to be able to handle the water and the tides and the heat. Okay? So your body is always learning. So subconsciously we can put ourselves in situations where we learn to deal with things and put ourselves under pressures that will help us to grow in different directions. So what sort of environment, again, is going to be the right thing that causes pressure on us, that then forces us to learn new things, yeah? Learning those new things that can help us, again, with that direction of travel, be the character that we need to be for your vehicle that could get you to 100k. There's the link, right? You see? Bringing it all back together now, aren't I? Yeah? Who do you need to be that person that can be in the 100k club, the million club? Who knows? It depends on what you want to get to. But right now, let's just get you to 100k, then I've done my job. You can do the rest of the learning later on. So, that's the subconscious learning by putting ourselves in different zones. What about the conscious learning? Now, this is a funny one, right? Because I'm surrounded by a lot of people that are into their learning. And it's quite uncommon, actually. But as you start to learn and develop yourself towards that 100k club goal, yeah, getting that 100k income, you're going to meet more and more people that are into their personal development, because this is what it takes to get there. You're going to start speaking their language. And these people may not have even heard of the 100k club, right? And this is what this podcast does. It gives you a speedier, faster way of accelerating your development to be in that circle of how people communicate and what they talk about. And personal development is a big thing. Obviously, otherwise, if they never did any personal development, then they wouldn't be having the skills or learning the right stuff or doing the right stuff to have earned that 100k in the first place. Okay, so what sort of things do you need to learn? Well, we're going to cover that in the podcast. That's what the whole podcast is about. What I want you to be conscious of right now is, what are you currently learning? Oh, Lewis, but I don't learn anything. I haven't read a book since I was 12. Yeah, because I had to at school. Hey, look, I was 28 before I read my first real book, back-to-back business book. Yeah, but I'll admit that I'm quite open to you about it. So don't be ashamed or don't be worried. There's always a nice place to start as well. So just start now. But what are you learning already? So you say, oh, well, I'm not learning anything at the moment. Well, you are. You're learning, but you're learning the things from your favourite movie or your favourite TV series. Or you're learning from life. You're learning from the people around you. You've learned from family members when we're first really young. We've learned from friends. We've learned from teachers. We're always learning. Yeah, we're learning from the lessons that we make. But sometimes we're learning the wrong stuff. And well, how do you determine what's the right stuff and what's the wrong stuff? Again, direction of travel. Okay. So, for instance, if I was going to be a brain surgeon, the first place to start would be going to medical school, right? But you'll never be a brain surgeon if you go to carpentry school. Yeah, You're going to be a master carpenter. Fantastic. Yeah, but is that what really excites you? Or is it really exciting to be a brain surgeon? What's the point going to medical school just because parents wanted us to go there and it seemed like the right thing to do? But really, you want to be a master carpenter. So it doesn't matter. What does matter is that you're doing the things that's right for you and going in the right direction that can get you to where you want to get to. And who knows? 100K Club may not even be the thing that you want. Yeah? But as you listen to this podcast, you're part of the 1% out there that does want to get into that 100K Club. And if you didn't, and if you don't, if you do, that's okay, right? Everybody's different. Humans are not generic. Yeah, humans are not generic. And that'll go into a lot more depth later in the podcast as we look into the psychology side and the human potential side. So learning, you are always learning. But now what I want you to do, ladies and gents, is be more conscious around the things that you are learning. What are you allowing as an input into your world, into your mind, into your day-to-day? What sort of things could you purposefully input instead? What sort of things should you be learning? So a good place to start is if you're learning about money is to get around people so you can be around an environment where you're learning constantly. Pressure is constant there, you having to learn about money. So hanging around more business people, listening to more wealth podcasts, listening to more episodes on the 100K podcast. Get your friends involved in the 100K podcast. Get your friends, and I'm just saying the 100K podcast as an example. It could be any podcast, any book, any learning course, any YouTube video. But the key here is, are you creating that environment? So it's not just you doing some, reading a book a week or something like that. Great if you do. That's how I first started when I was 28. I got obsessed and I read a book every 3 days. Yeah. But the biggest learning was when I started to shape my environment to be around more people that are on the same mission as me. Okay. So I learn from them too. And then you get leverage because they're all learning new stuff and sharing ideas. And look, you can listen to the same book. I listen to one book in particular once a year. And every time I hear it, it's as though I'm listening to a new book. Yeah, and the reason for that is because every year I accelerate my growth so that when I do listen to that book, it sounds like it's talking a different thing even though it's the same book. Because I'm at a different level and I'm hearing different things based on where I'm at now rather than where I was then. Make sense? And guess what? In 5 years' time, I'll listen to the same book again. And each year, it's going to sound a little bit differently because I'll pick up what I need right then. Okay? So, this is why we've done lots of episodes for the 100K Club, is because different people need different things at different stages of their life. Okay, so what are you learning right now? Just make a note of it, a mental note. What sort of things are you learning? What sort of things do you need to be learning to get you where you want to be? Okay, step 4. How to get in the 1% zone. And this is one that I never really hear anybody talk about, but it's something I did a lot of work with a lot of coaches in my circle, and we got our heads together and went, right, because I do a PhD on this stuff as well, and I don't talk about that. It's if you do want to talk to me about it, great, but I like to put it real and make it real in these podcasts. So talking about all these different things in the academic world isn't always the thing that makes it real. But there's some things from that isn't around the academic papers, but around the circle of people that I meet between entrepreneur world and the academic world. And what I notice is that everybody who gets together, they start to recognize that they know who they are. They understand that everybody has different beliefs and different strengths and different core values. And this is the thing that we really worked on or highlighted, and we did a lot of work on together that moved us forwards as entrepreneurs and business owners as well. And that was recognizing our character of who we are. Yeah. Understanding that it's okay to be you. Yeah. It's okay to be us. And what I mean by that is that in a world of social media right now, and you've got all these top influencers giving you the next big thing. Okay, well, what's the big thing right now? Oh, I follow a lot of fitness people, and they're all talking about ice baths, yeah, or cold showers. This ice bath, this is the new product about increasing resilience. And I'm like, whoa, that's really cool. Whoa, that's really cool stuff. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people who follow them think it's fantastic. And, these ice bath companies are making a lot of money from it. But it's great if you're a top performing athlete. But if you look at the research in it, there's academic papers that have now looked into what's the benefits of having these ice baths. Well, the only benefit really is around inflammation. And by the way, I'm not a specialist in this is just what I've seen from papers, that it's the inflammation around recovery. But this recovery only means anything if you're a real high performance athlete and need to recover. And so for an everyday, day-to-day gym person like me, I don't particularly need to be doing ice baths, right? It doesn't have that much benefit. But some would argue that it does have a lot of benefit. It doesn't matter. If you like it, keep doing it. It doesn't matter. And this is what I mean. Humans aren't generic, right? Everybody's different. So to bring it back to the point number 4, recognizing your character. It's understanding who you are and where you're going, who you need to become to get what you want to have, okay? And if that's the 100K club, which is the focus of this podcast, who do you need to be to get that sort of stuff? Do you need to be doing ice baths every day? But it's cool, Lewis. It's the latest thing, and it builds resilience and mindset and all this stuff. Yeah. Do you know what really gets you in the fucking 100K club? Actually finding a vehicle and working towards it. Yeah. Going out there and learning the skills that are going to influence and communication and leadership and sales and how to market yourself. And the list goes on, right? We're going to talk about these in these podcasts of how you increase that income. But we're not talking about ice baths here, right? We're not to say that ice baths aren't okay. They may be great. But right now, that ice bath is not going to make a difference whether you make 100K or not. So this is the key for this podcast. We're talking about focused learnings that are going to get you that 100K, right? Now, recognizing character. You have a set of values. You have a set of goals. Everyone else has different values. Everybody else has different goals. That's right for them. Maybe they don't even know what their goals are. Yeah. Here's a question. Go and ask anybody. Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Yeah. What is the outcome? When I say where do you see yourself? What do you want to be doing on your day to day? What does your ideal day look like? You wake up at 6 a.m. Gym's finished. 8 a.m. You're doing your dream job. Yeah. You finish. You go and work on your side hustle. You spend some time with your family. You go and spend some time going away to all these fantastic holidays and around the world and really living your life to its full potential, whatever that may be, right? Somebody else may turn around. I've got a good friend of mine. Lewis, I'm not interested in holidays. I'm not interested in holidays. I just want to go out there and I want to provide and build a legacy. I haven't got time for holidays. I'm not the person that needs to turn around and argue with them. That's right for them. Yeah? Don't worry about what other people think. Think about what you think. Where do you want to be? What's your direction of travel? What do you need to be doing? What do you need to be learning that suits your character? Get that character in your mind. Study the others that are similar to you, not the ones that are out there doing other cool shit. Yeah, it may be really cool, but I'll tell you something. You can go out there and meditate on a rock as much as you want. It's not going to earn you 100K. Okay, point 5, 1% zone. How do you get in that 1% zone more often? So, here's the final one then. Circle. Your circle of people around you that are influencing you. Just think about it for a minute. What are you being influenced? And this is the environment, right? Your circle is part of your environment. Your friends, your family, the things that you watch, the things that allow in through your inputs. Here's another one. Your circle can go as far as your social circle online. Okay. What about the people that you follow, that you scroll through Instagram and Facebook each day, or Twitter or LinkedIn, and that you're seeing come up every time you see them come up, subconsciously or consciously? They're part of your circle, and you may not have even spoke to them. Yeah, it could be Richard Branson, yeah, or Bill Gates, or Kim Kardashian, or whatever. Yeah, whatever it may be, whoever it may be, they're having an influence in some way on your circle. Okay, so what about if it's the news? The latest thing that could be, let me tell you, if you follow news channels on social media, most likely they're feeding negative food into your brain. And that negativity then starts to feed and grow. Yeah, you become what you think about. You become what you think about. So if you're thinking about negativity more often, if you're thinking about something that somebody's done that you have no influence over whatsoever, and they can have no influence over you other than posting stuff on social media that may bring you down or out of that 1% zone, then that circle is having an influence on you being in that 1% zone more often. So here's the thing. Go through your social media, and we call this core effect in the science world, by the way. And what the core effect is it's the initial emotion that comes up without any cognitive thinking around it. It's the thing that comes up without you having to recall and pass through your thought process, whether you like it or not. And it takes milliseconds, as you can imagine. So what the core effect is when you look at it, does it make you feel sad, happy? Does it make you feel angry? Well, what's the emotion that first comes up before you even have to think about it any further? Right. Go through social media and go, does this thing, or this person, or this whatever you're following give you negative or positive energy? And if it's negative, just hide it. Remove it from your circle. And it's not that you're trying to cut anything out or cut anybody out. You're just trying to limit that energy that's coming from there into your world instead. You want to start to stay in that 1% zone more often. Okay? Your circle. So maybe you need to start following some new people, some more people that inspire you. We started this podcast today. We didn't use the word modeling, yeah, but we'll do another podcast episode on that, about modeling characters with the values that you want to become or that you like in the world. Okay? So what modeling is that we study them and we see what they do, what their habits and the behaviours are, and we start to replicate it, yeah? Start to replicate it, and you follow their skills and learn the things that they learned. So you can start to, success leaves clues. You start to follow in the things that they're doing and really see and witness for yourself the learnings of how they got there. Okay. So yeah, you can start following more influencers, but the right influencers, the people that help you move towards that direction of travel rather than away from it. So what about the circle that isn't online? What about the circle that you're around at home, friends and family? And I always found that friends and family, you get a lot of supporters. People want to support you with things. But when the going gets tough, it's not that they don't want to support you when the going gets tough. It's that people don't understand it. And they understand it to their goals and their direction of travel, which maybe they never even thought about. Yeah, most of my friends, if you spoke to them and said, hey, where do you want to be in 5 years' time? It just opens up a can of worms that they never really thought about it, right? So if you really want to move forward towards your direction of travel, then really think here about the advice that you're taking. If you take advice from somebody that say, hey, look, you don't need to be doing that. Well, have they actually done it before? Have they achieved where you're going? Do they understand your emotions and your feelings of what it's taking for you to reach your goals? Do they have the level of resilience you do? Do they listen to the 100K podcast and understand all this stuff that we're talking about? Probably not, because their goal isn't 100K. And I know you may have lots of other goals right now, but this is the 100K Club podcast. My goal is to get you to 100K, and it's to keep you focused on it. And I know that your friends and family might love you to bits, but a lot of it's coming from a place of protection, yeah, to protect you, to keep your feelings happy. Oh, yeah, Lewis, it's okay. Things will be okay. Just leave that. Just leave it. But that's not the stuff that gets you to 100K. You need to be listening and surrounding yourself with a circle that are going there, yeah? Going in that travel, have the same mission as you. And that's the circle that'll ultimately get you to where you want to get to, which is the 100K club. Because you listen to the 100K, of course. If it was the reason I keep emphasizing this, by the way, is if you were to go and listen to another podcast, a lot of this stuff that you're listening to right now may not apply to a different goal. And that's okay, because we're not generic, again. So just be aware of it, right? What sort of things, even though people may be helping you, and you may find it helpful at the time, is it really the thing that you need to get you to the direction you want to get to? Okay, so how are you feeling right now? How are you feeling right now? The reason I ask you that is that what this episode was all about, wasn't it? About feelings, about emotion. Getting in that 1% zone, getting in that state that you can go and take over the world. And we've got a lot more tools in the toolbox as well of how you can start to get in that zone, remaining that strong, unbeatable, limitless state more often. So this has been episode 2. And we're talking about this stuff because without it, you being in that 1% zone more often, just imagine what happens. You go back to the same old stuff, the same old thinking. You allow other things to creep into your world that can start to turn you off your goal. And that's the key. How much do you really want it to get into this next level of your income? Yeah, the 100K club, right? Remaining in that 1% zone more often will allow you to learn new stuff. Search for new environments. Search for the circle that's going to help you. Yeah? The right inputs. Recognizing your character. Yeah? Really important. Not many people speak about this, but understanding who you are and that things are right for them, but may not be right for you if your goal is to get to the 100K club. Ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed the episode. And remember, this episode is free, but there is a fee. Share it with somebody who's a motivated, inspirational leader just like you. Yeah? Because you never know. You never know. They may be having a pretty shit day. And there might be something in this last 30 minutes of an episode that could really turn them thinking, go, oh, boom, 0.5. I needed that in my life. Thanks for sharing that with me. Yeah? All it takes is for you to click that share button and send it over them on a text message or messenger or WhatsApp, and you can make a difference in someone else's world. Ladies and gents, thanks for listening. I'm Lewis Haydon. See you on episode 3.